Customer experience is something that I talk a lot about around here. Customer experience is inextricably linked to inclusive marketing. It is a vehicle with which you demonstrate to the people that you serve that they belong with you or not, right? I just feel like not enough brands, not enough marketers give the attention and the importance needed to customer experience that it warrants. So that's why today I'm excited to bring to you a conversation that I had with someone who specializes in customer experience, specifically from a marketing standpoint, and focuses on the intersection between customer experience and data. So that helps you do a better job of making more of the people that you want to serve feel like they belong with you. So after this short break, you'll hear my conversation with Jess Cervellon, customer experience expert. Did you know that most businesses only use 20% of their data? That's like reading a book with most of the pages torn out or paying for a coffee that's just 1/5 full. Point is, you miss a lot unless you use HubSpot. Their customer platform gives you access to the data you need to grow your business. The insights trapped in emails, call logs, and transcripts, all that unstructured data that makes all the difference. Because when you know more, you grow more. And when you get a full cup of coffee, you can do more too. But I digress. Visit HubSpot.com today. Hey, Jess, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to chat with you.
Me too. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's kick this off by letting people know, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so I am Jess Cervellon. I am the founder of Open Lake Collective. Open Lake Collective is a CX and marketing agency, but we also do brand strategy and insight. So everything that we do is very much rooted in data, and that informs all of the decisions that helps brands build.
I love to hear it, especially because I am like a customer experience junkie, and I am finding more and more that not enough brands are using data to make decisions or to inform the decision making there. So I'm really curious in how you bring those things together with customer experience. But before we get too far down, can you just explain from your perspective, what is customer experience?
Yeah. Don't you worry, girl. I got this one. So customer experience, I think, is like commonly misconceptualized that customer experience is just customer support. But customer experience isn't just customer support. Customer experience is, yes, you're supporting your customers. So it's very much customer service, but it's also what is the overall journey of your customer through your brand, through your features, through your company, whatever it is, whoever you are, whatever you're slaying in, what is the actual journey of your customers throughout your product offering? And what experience are they having with your product or offering? Yeah. That's the important thing of knowing, because everything we're going to talk about today is not just rooted in support, it's rooted in understanding your customer's persona, your customer's experience, and then making decisions based off of that.
Okay, so I knew I was going to enjoy talking to you because we speak the same language on this, because I know customer experience is such an important part of it. And I think this is where a lot of times brands kind of just skimp out on. It's an afterthought. They don't realize how many people make decisions based upon the experiences that they have with a brand throughout their customer mix. So I'm curious on your thoughts on where brands don't understand, or what is it that they don't quite get right, if there are any specific examples that you can give as it relates to customer experience.
Yeah. I mean, like, I deal with this a lot. Like, it's really interesting because my co-founder and I have openly, like, we've run across this a lot in our conversations with brands lately. And maybe because we just like think about it differently, because Feastables was so rooted in data and understanding the consumer persona. But I think one of the biggest things that I see brands getting wrong is you have your marketing position, you have your marketing strategy, you go to market with it, and then you're like, oh, I need customer service. Okay, great. You have your customer service, but then you silo your customer service off to the side and you don't actually listen to the inquiries that are coming in from your customer service department, or on some ends that I've seen too, even your community. And when I say community, your social community. Social media isn't just about, oh, I liked things in the comment section, or, oh, okay, great, I got these DMs and like, these are all great. What I'm seeing a lot of is that people aren't thinking about the holistically that a customer experience that happens with your brand from like the customer service side, the community side. And then third is actually the digital experience side. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm saying digital experience, I don't just mean like your digital marketing, like your emails and SMS. I mean your actual website journey. What's happening on your website? How easy is it for people to like convert? Are you making that easy? Are you giving the information needed on PDPs? Are you answering questions before they become questions? Yeah. I think there's like, this is a very loaded answer. I'm not going to lie, because I think there's a lot of different things that I'm seeing happen. So that's like one piece of it. You're not listening to your customer service, you're not listening to community, and you're also not looking at your overall digital experience. And then I think the other piece that I also see across brands is that you think that you go to market with your customer persona, you've put it out there, you've got your positioning, but you don't adapt your customer as times change. Yeah. And so this is where I started off answering your question. Like what I'm finding my co-founder and I are seeing a lot of is that the brand strategy and the insights piece are forgotten about after you've launched, but you still need to do that in the middle of your brand journey. And also if you decide that you want to go into retail or all these other places, these are different types of touch points and different types of customer personas that you have to understand to then go and expand your brand. So two-parter, siloing pieces, but also not thinking about brand strategy and insights.
Yeah, because I imagine that when people are launching, they have one idea of who their customer is. And then after they launch, they realize that there's a bunch of different types of people who maybe we didn't even consider who are perfect for our product. And if you don't adjust for that, account for that, your marketing isn't going to speak to them. So
totally.
I love the way that you sort of brought that up.
And I can actually give you an example. I'm not going to name the brand, but I was working with a brand like earlier this year, and they came to me because they were looking for growth strategy. And so I like did a quick audit for them and like looked at their growth strategy and looked at their repeat business rate and like all this stuff. And like they actually had a ton of repeat customers, right? But at some point they tapped out on the specific customer persona that they initially were positioning and targeting to.
Yeah.
And my biggest growth lever to them was like, hey, listen, like you're targeting this customer, you have really good retention, but the thing is you're not acquiring a new customer. You're not bringing in additional customer personas into your product to then build sustainability.
I love the tangents that we're going on and the rants that we're having. One other question for you before we kind of switch gears and bring this to the world of inclusion. What are the types of analytics that people should be looking at as it relates to customer experience?
Yeah. So I think it varies, but like I want to break it down again from like that 3-parter. So like customer support, right? Don't just look at like your average whole handle time for tickets and all these other things. Like make sure that you're tagging conversations and categorizing the types of conversations that you're having in customer service, then to go and build like reporting off of that. That's one of the things that my team does. It's a standard offering for all of our clients. Like we're always building analytics from the customer experience department. And then when you're looking at community, so the social piece of it, honestly, every brand needs to be doing social listening because all you're doing, like that's the biggest analytics piece for me. Yes, I care about the engagement. I care about all these pieces. But what I also care about is who are the customers that are talking about me in other places that haven't even come to me. Yeah. So that's one social. So social listening as an analytics piece is very important to me. Third thing, digital experience. Again, yes, you can look at like your emails and your open rates and all these things and your deep segmentation. Like that's all going to get you to where you need to go. Absolutely. But I think one piece is, and this is more of a little tactical advice to then incorporate into your analytics, is to incorporate a very robust like post-purchase survey to then build analytics. Because what you can build with your post-purchase surveying is like you're not only understanding attribution, but if you build in like questions that actually ask about like demographics or who that buyer is, you might unlock a different customer persona that you don't even know that you need to go double down on.
Yeah. So much good things to think about that gives a lot of insight into who your customer is and who you're missing, who might want to be your customer,
Mhm.
but you need to do different things. At the time of this recording, there's been a lot of things popping up around the brand Euphoria.
Oh, I
I
just
don't know if
posted
you've
about
seen
this. Yeah.
yeah. So for those who don't know, Euphoria is a makeup brand who got called out a couple of months back because they had a lack of inclusive color ranges. And
Hmm.
so they responded by implementing a new color that was basically just black. Right.
Hmm.
And nobody's skin color is black. So that's the background. So people are having a lot of conversations on social about Euphoria. And basically, I think this whole thing started with people were saying, hey, we would be interested in being your customer, but you're not serving us in this manner. Is that kind of the thing that you're talking about? Like when you're saying social listening and
Yeah.
finding out what people are saying and what it is that they're looking for from you or what you're not offering?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think that's like one piece of the pie, right? And so, like, as we talk about the subject of the inclusion, though, I think that's like one piece that's like a gold mine that you just
Yeah.
don't even know exists, right? So,
Yeah.
like, think about Euphoria for this example, right? Maybe they have these tools. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like outside looking at it, I'm like, that's a miss. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is a miss.
Yeah.
And I think that like outside looking in, if they actually were like doing some sort of listening or surveying of their customer and
Mm-hmm.
like understanding the customer persona that's asking for these like wants of like more diversification in like their
Yeah.
foundation product, right?
Yeah.
They probably would have like been able to utilize that information to then build the product. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, like, because I am not the marketer on the team, but I think what happened was they probably like did some sort of like social listening, but then didn't actually dive deeper into it, into like understanding what the customer wants. So I think it's even one layer deeper with them, right? I think
Yeah.
that they understood like people were asking for these things, but then they didn't do the consumer testing and researching part of it. Because had they done the consumer testing and research part of it, they would have known that like
This isn't it.
shades of black and shades of brown, because I'm brown, okay, like is very, very
Yeah.
all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to diversify your line, you should be out there researching your customer, like doing testing with your customer to ensure that like your product, in this case, a foundation, can build up to the complexion
Yeah.
of that end user, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many misses on their part. So, which is a nice segue into thinking about customer experience from the lens of people who have different identities, because more and more consumers
Mm-hmm.
are diverse, and diverse consumers or people who have, don't fit into what is considered to be mainstream increasingly are more vocal about their expectations of brands and brands serving their needs. So, from your point of view, when or how should brands be considering the different identities of the people they're serving and the customer experiences they're delivering?
Yeah, I think it varies like so many different places. So I don't even think it's just like customer service and community under the customer experience. I also think it like this is more about like the marketing pieces of it, right? So, I mean, I might get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think there's a
Please.
lot of brands out there for people like us. Like
Right.
and like me specifically, like I'm Latina, like, and I think there are brands out there. There are some, right? There's some products out there, like Taste Salud is a Latino hydration company. It's all based off of agua fresca, so it's like it's a product that was like
Yeah.
brought like come to the market like from a Latino man, like
Yeah.
wanting to bring this to the market. There's other brands like Lausa, which is like marinades and stuff like that, right? But I actually want to flip it. I want to flip it. So it's like there's brands out there that are like for these markets, different markets. Like there's several
Yeah.
of them, right?
Right.
But we're out there like fighting to bring our products to the market
Yeah.
and into like the mainstream, and then having to fit it into a different type of community, right? Of like
Yeah.
an understanding and like educating that community. So I wish,
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'm going to answer your question directly. I'm going to be honest
Okay.
with you, because it's like
Okay.
I'm just like on a ramble. But I
Yeah.
think it was just like a little bit flipped in a way where it's like, if there's like products out there that you want to diversify and you want to speak to like every nationality, right? Then I think it's a little bit of like educating like internally. I think it's educating also in how to personalize those experiences and just bring in like that diversification. Actually, here's a good example. Cheerios. I was in an Asian food market in Chicago. And Cheerios on shelf had, they did like this level of like personalization, but like in the boxes said like mom, dad, cousin, right? And then there was other boxes that said like Tio and Tia or like mi amor, right? And I thought that was like a really special because they were diversifying their product to like not just think about one audience. They diversified their products on shelf based off of the localization of the area. Even though it was an Asian market, there were also boxes like in like Asian script, like whether like I'm not 100% like sure of like the dialect like written right, but like I know that there was like Chinese and there was a Thai box too, and like I obviously like can't read those like written, but my point is though is like that was a diversification on shelf. You know what I mean? To include several different varieties of like individuals. And I thought that was not only answered like personalization, but also like created that inclusivity for like an outdated product called Cheerios.
I think about this a lot because, and that was a wonderful example. A friend of mine actually sent a picture of one of those boxes to me that said like abuela. And she's like, look at this.
Yeah.
The reason why I think about this so much is because I'm someone with a lot of differences. And I experience the frustration quite a bit when there are experiences that brands deliver that I can't participate in because of my differences, because they hadn't thought much, they hadn't thought about me, they're not targeting or just never considered, going back to what you said about customer avatars or who their ideal customer is, they never updated it.
Yeah.
And so I think that people who don't fit into what's considered to be mainstream have in general less than stellar customer experiences with brands. And as a result, like the bar just feels so low for us to be excited about something. But I think there's a lot of opportunity because anytime a brand takes the time to think about the customer experience for people with different identities, they recognize how loyal that customer base is, because there's not a lot of people or not a lot of brands who actually take the time to include them. My point of view.
Totally. And I think one industry that actually we're seeing more of that inclusion and more of that changes, actually the curly hair industry. There's several brands out there that like speak to all sorts of nationalities and like hair textures, mostly. Like I'm 50% Salvadorian and 50% Russian, Jewish. So like my hair in particular, right, is very curly, right? Like, but it's also mixed texture, right?
Yeah.
And there's one brand out there that I'm thinking of that maybe a lot of people don't even know of, but I think they do a really good job of like speaking to all audiences and including not just on like a marketing campaign, but even on like the product itself. Like, and they're called Inner Sense. And Inner Sense is made for curly haired individuals, right? And the product itself is like the line that they have just speaks to all sorts of hair textures, right? It's not just trying to fit into like one box of like curly hair, but then also on the marketing side of it, they've really created a brand essence that is about inclusivity and maybe like, they're a little bit woo. I'm not going to lie. Like it's a little bit of like universe and breathe in and all these things, but they're not just singling out like the yogis, right?
Yeah.
They're really making it about being inclusive and like taking a moment for yourself. And like that is, and I think like that kind of like marketing brand essence, right? Overall for them just creates a level of just like inclusivity across many different individuals. And then also from the product positioning about offering several different varieties of their product for all different textures is like doubling down on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. And it's probably they're thinking about it throughout the entire arc of the customer experience and
Exactly.
how they need to show up for those touch points to make sure people feel seen like they belong.
Exactly.
Now, Okay, I've got another podcast recommendation for you. It's Augmenters, hosted by Julie Meyer and Jimmy Edgerton, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. So on this show, Julie and Jimmy dive into mentoring and explore ways to augment and refresh the mentoring environment. They're using 8 core principles that weave relevant spirit guides and diverse guests, and Julie and Jimmy use a lot of humor and practical tips to help mentors and mentees get further, faster together. There's so many great episodes to tune into for this show, but one that you might find especially interesting is their latest episode, number 120, Mentoring Across Gender, Men as Allies and Mentors. Listen to Augmenters wherever you get your podcasts. We first started talking about having this conversation. You mentioned that you had some field insights about delivering remarkable customer experiences that resonate with diverse audiences. Can you talk about those?
Yeah. Shoot, that was my Cheerios example.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, even past that though, let's like even just talk about like customer experience, like brick and mortar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like thinking about it, right? Like, so I went into this store this weekend and I was fully expecting to only see Asian food products on shelves, right?
Okay.
And I think it was really awesome and very well curated because I actually didn't. I mean, I saw like the different, Kit Kat flavors that you can get in like Japan and Korea and all these other places, right? And like, all of these like different confectionaries. Oh, God, I can't even talk. But anyway, all these different like snacks and sweets, okay, that you get in like other Asian countries. But what was really awesome about this place is that it wasn't just Asian foods. There was also a huge diversification on shelf of even Latin foods, right? There was even when I went and looked in like the seltzers, like the amount of beverages that this place had were like across the board on not even on just nationalities, but just across the board in like different industries. And again, I fully expected to walk into the store thinking I was only going to see Asian food brands. But I actually saw such a diversification of everything that was like hot in the CPG space right now to the best like Latin foods on the market to like the hottest like Asian foods on the market. But then also there was even like a Jewish aisle. Like there was a Jewish aisle like or section in the aisle of like finding like matzo ball mix, right? Like I thought that was a really cool experience and really awesome because I walked into the store thinking one thing, but like a place that has to exist to have diversification in the world also is bringing diversification and inclusion from other brands into their brick and mortar. And I think that was like so sick. Like my partner and I, we both were like, let's just start shopping here full time,
Yeah, because they have their finger on the pulse of who their customer is. And because of that, they're like, let's make sure that we have what these different identities are going to need. So love it, love it, love it. And they just won a customer full time. They won your loyalty, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and the last point I want to make actually is because they used to be, I forget the name of the market, but it was like a single market, like a mom and pop type of market, like big grocery store, but not a huge chain in Chicago. And I forget like the name of it, but that space used to be this like bigger, average grocery store, right? And then they've created this like Asian food market. So like, again, doubling down on what you were saying about understanding the consumer. They also understood the consumer in the area because in this area in particular is kind of a food barren area. So like they have to offer additional like food offerings that are going to speak to multiple different types of customers and bring them in.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. One other question before we switch gears a little bit is I think that a lot of times when people are talking about customer experiences and delivering experiences that win customers, that they feel like the experiences need to be like this over the top type of thing. And I want to get your perspective on, do good customer experiences need to be like this over the top, let me tell you about, like, tell all my friends because this is just such unexpected and amazing? Or is there like a middle ground? Or like, do you have any advice for like what the spectrum of these experiences need to be to make sure that, people feel seen and like they want to come back and get more of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there is a spectrum of it. I think like the over the top pieces sometimes are looked at as like, oh, that's going to cost money, but it doesn't cost money to just be nice and offer a frictionless journey. And so what I mean by that is like, if you like think about it on like the bottom of the spectrum, right? Like if I have an e-commerce brand or even a brick and mortar brand and I want to bring my customer in consistently and create loyalty, the first spot that I should be doing is answering questions before they become questions. Your customer should not be wondering about the value props of your product, right? So that's like cost you nothing.
Yeah.
And then in the middle ground of it is like having like a really great customer service perspective too. It's like, if somebody has a problem, can they solve that problem and can they solve it easily and meet friendly people on the other end of it? It doesn't mean you have to go and like, again, like you don't have to go and be like, here's a free product or here's a discount. Like, are the other people on the end that are like associated with your brand, your company, and delivering the customer experience, nice people that are actually looking out for the customer? That yes, that costs you money in a headcount perspective, but that also costs you nothing to think about when you're going through a hiring process.
Yeah.
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 And then lastly, so then the higher spectrum, right? I would say higher spectrum is like more of like surprise and delight, like offering like free things and like in a product, right? But I don't think you always have to do that. I think it's just really valuing your VIP customers. Who are your customers that continuously come back and how do you say thank you to them? That's how you can deliver really dope customer experiences by, and it's not even just service, it's like overall brand experience, right? Like that's how you deliver a really dope experience, by really taking care of your customers and seeing them and like making them feel recognized for the amount of time and money that they spent with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Because you do want to feel valued. Like, I spent a lot of money here. Like, you need to like, reward me in some way. So I think that's great. All right. Let's switch gears a little bit. Can you tell me about a time when a brand made you feel like you belonged?
Yeah. Let me think through this. I might get some crap for this one, but I'm going to be honest with you. Erewhon.
Okay.
Erewhon. And it's not really a brand. It's a grocery store, but it feels like a brand these days, right? Here's why they made me feel like I belonged. I actually walked into the store thinking like, man, everything is really high priced. Like, am I going to be able to afford this? Am I even the ideal customer?
Yeah.
Right? And granted, I did spend a lot of money there, marketing tactic. But when I walked in, it was such an experience. Like everything was just like very well put together. Everything was inviting, like, going to the hot bar, going to get a smoothie. Also, lastly, and this is maybe speaks to like a little bit of a surprise and delight, but I had parked my car, and because the lot of this location was so small, I had to like valet it. Like they had to like keep the keys. But what they did when I got back to the car is like they had samples of different products, right? And I thought that was like such a really cool sampling experience, but a really cool experience. But like the reason I'm using that as like a belonging is because it's exactly what I was saying. Like, I feel like the price point outside looking in is so high, right? But then they're giving back to me as a customer that like from an inconvenience, right? And that made me feel like, okay, no, I'm actually valued here. I'm actually like a worthwhile customer, even though you're just valeting my car.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool example. Where can people find you if they want to learn more about you and your work?
Yeah. So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn, Jess Cervellon. We can put it in the show notes. And then also I have my personal website, which is jesscervellon.com. And my team and I also live on openlakecollective.com.
Okay, perfect. I will link all those up in the show notes so people can find you easily. This has been so much fun. I love how we just kind of gone off in a couple little tangents, but that's part of the beauty of having these conversations. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for marketers and business leaders who want to do a better job of delivering inclusive customer experiences to the people that they serve?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is knowing your customer personas and also knowing that your customers change and evolve over time. And you should be going through that exercise constantly throughout your brand's scaling, whether it's at brand creation and you've gone on the market and you've done all these things. You should be constantly going through that exercise of understanding who your customer is to ensure that all of your tactics are actually doing them good.
Jess, this has been fantastic. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me, Sonia.
Jess had so many cool things to share and very cool experiences that she's had over the course of her career. I'm curious, what do you need to focus on elevating when it comes to the customer experience your brand delivers for the people that you serve? Let's continue the conversation on social, in the DMs, and email. I want to know how you're thinking about customer experience in the context of your inclusive marketing efforts. If you like the show, I would so appreciate it if you would leave a rating and review for it in your podcast player of choice. It really does go a long way towards helping more people discover the show and to start thinking about the things that really don't have enough attention on them, but really does play a big role in how the people that we serve feel about their experiences with our brand. Another question for you. Are you getting the Inclusion and Marketing newsletter? Each week, I send news, insights, tips, resources, and other good stuff to help you attract and retain a bigger, more diverse, and fiercely loyal customer base. Go to inclusionandmarketing.com/newsletter to get signed up. I'll also drop a link to that in the show notes for you so you can access it easily. Until next time, remember, everyone deserves to have a place where they belong. Let's use our individual and collective power to ensure more people feel like they do. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you soon.